virtue is to live with God. How? That's another question. That too was not clear. From the book of Daniel, we begin to hear about the resurrection. And that teaching of the resurrection was not even clear. And at the time of Jesus, the teaching of the resurrection was so unclear that some religious leaders accepted it, the Pharisees, and some other religious leaders, the priests, did not accept it, the Sadducees. Resurrection. What does that mean? What the Jews learned from the Greeks was about the immortality of the human soul. There is a difference between immortality means that once you get it, but the resurrection means that then you will rise in some other form. The resurrection is about, the immortality is about continuation of the life principle in the human being. Daniel chapter 12 verses 1. Some will rise to life, others will rise to death, to damnation. So they were undo. And they were basically undo. Outside the commandment of God, your soul will not die. You want to forgive. Once again, don't think that at the end of life here, everything is ended. No, it is about what kind of life do you live after the life of life. Then the teaching that Jesus clarified was that the resurrection is not just of the soul because it never died, but both soul and body. Jesus But Jesus is the man, Matasia, Unyaman, Opening, one in the all of us ask such questions in the face of Christ. Where was God? I know we don't have some people after tragedy upon tragedy, not finding a coherent relationship between their worship of God and good fortune, they moved away completely from God. A baby had to go down when she did her worship. Lord, where were you? The portion we read from the gospel does not tell us that Jesus knew ahead of time that Lazarus was sick but waited until he died. The reason is unknown to us. Of course, he came with Lazarus and spent about 4 days in the tomb. After he spent 4 days in the tomb, in order to show that by calling him up from the dead, he had power to raise the dead. But why didn't he prevent him from dying in the first place? I'm going to tell you. The Lazarus are there to very well. All those who Jesus raised some time on earth are no longer alive on earth. But Jesus was pointing to something beyond the resurrection of a dead person now. He was pointing to something beyond the grave. Your brother will live again. And Martha, because she had been brought up in the tradition of those who believed in the resurrection, let's say, I know he will live again, he will rise again at the resurrection. And Jesus made this affirmation: I am the resurrection and the life. For the Pharisees and for people like Martha, were promised. ekwere ndị ezi omume ma n'ime Jesu mbilite n'ọnwụ abụrụ fulfillment and reality. When we insert our life in the life of Christ, as he said in John chapter 15 and also in John chapter 6, we become one with him, and his life becomes our life, and his rising from the dead becomes reality for us, not just a promise. That is the great difference. I have to credit to we have to accept that some questions don't have clear answers. Just as there are so many questions around the death of Odonwodo. Too many questions, many of them without answers. But fundamentally, even if we found the answers to those questions, then Odonwodo will not come out of that coffin today. So where do we go from here? It is not about finding rational explanation concerning death, especially sudden death. It's about being able to live in such a way as to express what we believe. Do you believe that what we believe shapes our life? It is said, it was reported, that while Ojiakor was going out for that venture, he was asked to pour libation. And he refused. No vegetable prayer. Some will say, and as a result, he died. I don't know whether all those who died in that accident, if it is proven that I don't know whether all of them who died were those who did not pour libation. Whether or not, one thing is clear. May pour libation, may pour libation. We can never the end is the same. The end is the same. I don't know if you conduct the census of Igbo Christians today who firmly believe in the teachings of Christ and the church and don't go back to Igbo and say where and Igbo. If you conduct the census, I don't know whether you get up to 50% of Christians who believe that Jesus is the resurrection and the life. And then the fact not Jesus and God. Many of those listening to me here. Now go. Now perhaps. Now pray. But Memoro at 190. Memoro at 43. Oh, my God. The next one is, how did you die? In whom did you die? Is it not interesting that anybody may baptism, no matter the type of life you do, when you are getting baptism, make confirmation, not only where night of St. Luke, night of St. John, paper night, lady of St. Lady, grand lady. Jacob, Manon, Mission, if you prefer equal to Why do you insist? Or why do your people insist on coming back to perform rituals you never believed in? Why do we are not? Because we know where the truth is, but we don't have the courage to accept it, to admit it. We, as Christians, believe that Christ is the resurrection and the life. Even if things are happening in our lives that we don't understand, we believe in. Look at this young man. Why were so many people moved by his death? A man who died even before he turned 44. And I'm sure many of those who were crying, weeping, and said, have no idea about what is the balance in this bank account is. Whether it is like the number of an FM station, 109.75. My number of account balance is 109.75. And immediately ATM machine, usual balance. 109.75. Do you want to proceed? Where will you proceed to? With 109.75. Sometimes also, we don't know also whether his account balance was as long as the letters of Shokolo Bank machine. Shokolo Bank machine. I know still. Go buy out more than 19 letters. Nobody, what was his bank account balance did not matter. What mattered is that this young man touched some lives and made so many people smile in a positive way. Made so many people happy in a positive way. And here we have to commend the film industry in this country, Nollywood, and all associates and engineering office. But a contribution many made to this society. Very often they are blamed for the evils in society. They have their share of blame, yes, but they are not alone. Many people in the art industry are working hard to make an impact on the people positive. John Paul Jr. did that. In imitation of his namesake, John Paul II, who is now the saint, he chose to abandon the life of private successful and then to influence people positively. I say we have to commend the film industry in this country, but that film industry, I think, must now realize that it has come of age. Coming of age means becoming responsible. The film industry in Nigeria has to realize the amount of impact it makes on the lives of individuals in this country and the image it creates about Nigerians, and take those things very seriously. Sometimes I say they are blamed, for instance, for the return to paganism and idol worship and fetishes. They contributed, but they were not originally responsible for that. And the video was some Christian leaders, some fake pastors who made mockery of Christianity by giving people the impression that God can be controlled. When some preachers and religious leaders made religion entertainment, nobody should blame those in the entertainment industry for turning entertainment into a religion. Only he had really get in churches. And of course, the people lost the catch on that. And instead of them reproducing the aberrations in the society as a warning, some even turned creations of the fertile imaginations of artists into reality, especially the minds of children.
Continue to rest in perfect peace.
That's where we are. But even now, one time, what I'm telling our people,
Tell us where you're joining from, tell us where you are.
those whom you think are returning to traditional religion
Rest in
are
peace.
not
Write your
returning
comments.
to traditional religion at all. Because those who are out to manipulate God instead of worshiping Him will end up without any religion at all. Because they find out they can't manipulate God. They left the mainstream Christian churches into Pentecostalism, and Pentecostals rejoiced that their family had been schooled by the former mainstream Christian. Asian, Catholic, Presbyterian, Anglican, Methodist, Pentecostalism, and all these within a short time, people have realized that is a human-created religion for the manipulation of God. It's not Christianity. And now they have left. Pentecostal and adoration centers are failing out also. So they did that in they are now going to the rivers, it's the wines, and there's the walls, and then I just say, okay, before you see that, in an human, we were lost. What is it lost? And I just say, okay, they don't eat, that's good, there's 7 million, and I'm going to 7 million, you don't eat. God, that they can manipulate, and eventually they will realize that not even there can God be manipulated. In their anger and frustration, they end up without any religion. And a man without a religion is like a man without a state. No matter how much you hate your country, can you imagine living a life without belonging to any country? No matter how much you dislike your religion, by the time you become religionless, the next step is to make yourself God and everybody wants to worship. That is dangerous. So now they will leave, and when they leave, they will become aggressive and intolerant secularists. Atheists, they are on their way to atheists. Now what we need to